I want to jump into this because this is something that I haven't been more excited for an XPRIZE in a really long time. So
Yes.
I'm sure you're familiar with XPRIZE. They have been trying to tackle some of the largest millennium goals, largest, problems facing us today by essentially funding projects, funding challenges. And really, the model is based on, if you fund a project and you have multiple groups competing for that challenge, you're going to get about 10 to 30 times the amount of money invested into it with just the organizations like participating in the challenge than you actually give out in the prize money.
Wow.
The X Prize was based on this sort of idea that some people aren't quite aware of, but when Charles Lindbergh actually completed the first solo nonstop transatlantic flight, that was for a $25,000 prize. That was the
Attaboy.
Orteig Prize, which was notable because there were so many different aviators at the time, engineers at the time who tried to do this
Mhm.
crossing. And so way more than $25,000 was, invested into figuring and solving this problem of how to cross the Atlantic with
Mhm.
an airplane. And that is the spirit, that is the same concept of, what XPRIZE does. Now, XPRIZE has just announced the world's largest sci-fi film competition, or one of the world's largest. But I think what's so exciting about it is it's all about showing us a future that's worth building. The argument here is pretty straightforward. Um, Most science fiction that we see today is really based on like dystopian future. The reason that is that our memory works much better when assessing danger,
Mhm.
right? Because that's what kept us alive, right?
Mhm.
We don't tend to remember the positive feelings as much as we probably should,
Yeah. We just kind of go to sleep. It's comfy. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, drama and danger and the fears are often what ends up being put into film and put into narrative. And given how fast we're progressing, with technology, with AI development, there is this real desire and this real need for us to, as creators, to embrace a positive utopian future, to
Mhm.
start to shape out how we would imagine future can be and should be, right? So that it doesn't sort of run away from us. And what X Prize is sort of leaning into is really this sort of Star Trek future versus like a Mad Max future, right?
Mhm.
Or versus a Terminator future, let's say.
Mhm.
And, Star Trek is famous for being very utopian, sort of like presenting a human future where we've solved for many of the problems that we have today. Fans of Star Trek are very familiar with all sorts of, details around the lore, how we solved, animal farming and how we solved, how we traveled around the stars as with peacekeeping research and scientific vessels,
Mhm.
diplomatic approaches to meeting, aliens around our galaxy, as opposed to a hardcore militarized like colonization
Conquering,
approach.
yeah, attitude. Yeah.
Really what this prize is all about is bringing filmmakers together to submit a 3-minute trailer that's all about your utopian vision of where technology can take us, in the next 10, 20, 100 years.
Is there a limit to the number of trailers that someone can upload?
Can upload.
Because there are so
Wow.
many good ideas.
Yeah.
And I just wanna, like, celebrate this because,
Hmm.
I think we even talked, in a previous, episode about Moltbook and how, like,
Hmm.
we're just watching these AIs converse with each other in fear because they're talking about, fucking over humans or whatever. And
Right.
but it's like even if they're not conscious, even if there's no consciousness, they're just running out their programming based on the sci-fi and the
That they've
culture
seen.
and the storytelling. It's all like it's inevitable that
Yeah.
that intelligent beings will think like that.
Hmm.
But I think it was Yuval Noah Harari in
Hmm.
some random interview. I don't know if he stands behind this or he just said it in an interview, but
Hmm.
he said that like science fiction was about to be the most valuable medium ever, because science fiction has the ability to invent the future,
Right.
because science fiction breeds reality. We think the moon is made out of cheese, or that we see people on the moon. Next
Hmm.
thing you know, we're going there.
Right.
Um, so yeah, like this is such a great idea to shape our storytelling, tell better stories,
Hmm.
not just focus on this like cautionary tale, but actually propose solutions to what we're going through right now.
Yeah. No, I love it. I've always been, obviously I love drama and I love, the Terminator franchise and sci-fi like
Oh
aliens and
my God,
stuff.
who doesn't? Yeah, The
But
Matrix.
I also have loved Star Trek my whole life, like I have always been, super into the themes around like a research scientific diplomatic armada of ships, you know, exploring the galaxy as opposed to like a militarized kind of like colonization of of planets and stuff like you would see in, some more darker sci-fi.
Yeah,
Um
optimistic
yeah.
vision. Yeah.
And like we have so many problems that are going to be could and can and should be solved with all this incredible technology that's coming out, that I just think we need to be telling those stories. We need to be listening to those stories. We need to be having the younger generation inspired by those stories.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'm excited. I definitely want to, submit something. I think it's due in like September. Our studio's definitely going to be working on
Let's do it
something.
now.
I
Let's
hope
fill
to
it
work
fill
on
it out.
something with you. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait. Maybe we'll premiere on this show, the stuff that
Oh,
we end
that'd
up
be so
working
fun.
on.
I've got
Yeah.
Seed Dance too, so it'll just take me like 2 seconds, and
How many of people are going to use CDS2? The funny thing about this is they are allowing for AI generation,
of course you have to.
but it's sponsored by Google, so I believe you need to use Google Tools. You don't have to. It's very specific. You don't have to.
Okay.
But if you do, you got to use the Nano Banana VO,
VO3
Flow
is
suite,
excellent.
which
Yeah.
is excellent. It's still very good. And and I think, what's important about when I talk to people about using generative technology today, and maybe this is a good sort of ending, and I want to hear your opinion on this. There is a difference between, we know that there's an ethical dilemma. There's these things have been trained on IP that exists. So, but that doesn't mean like, you can't explore them. Just don't make things and then go and like try and sell that, in the marketplace, right? Like we have to be very careful about how we monetize these things that are maybe using models that aren't ethically trained. I think that's where my mind goes lately, but exploring it, testing it, seeing how it works out. I'm sure these submissions aren't going to be used, in some like hardcore commercial way, but when it's used to excite and inspire, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think that they should be used in a commercial way by the creator that submits them, like not
Mhm.
everybody's going to win some of that 3 million bucks or whatever it is, but
Right.
like
Yeah.
great, now you've got an awesome trailer for an optimistic vision of the future. Like go
Totally.
sell it through, like
Yeah.
or make it and put it online and get
Yeah.
people to love it. And it's yeah, it should be commercialized in
Hmm.
that way.
Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.